Now, from WYDC TV, this is Big Fox News at 10.
We start the week off with some good news in the fight against COVID-19. Johnson & Johnson's single-dose vaccine will start being administered as soon as today. Now for the not-so-good news. As Britt Conway reports, the vaccine's rollout is in for a rough road ahead.
3.9 million doses of Johnson & Johnson's new COVID-19 vaccine starting to roll out around the country and getting into arms as soon as today. Johnson & Johnson's goal is to ship out 20 million doses by the end of March and 100 million by the end of June. But there are challenges ahead, starting now. Challenge 1, availability.
The supply will be limited for the next couple of weeks following this initial distribution.
That's because more doses still need to be made, and Johnson & Johnson's partners in making the vaccine can only do so much.
It's a very complicated endeavor. Everyone has really stepped up, but there are practical limits to what can be done in very condensed timelines, given the nature of that industrial-wide scale and the regulated environment in which we operate.
Put more simply,
you can't accelerate it by yelling at it, so you have to have the cells growing and the virus is extracted.
Challenge 2, access.
Scheduling remains for far too many people too frustrating, and we need to make it better.
And challenge 3, acceptance. Look at this. A recent poll from the Kaiser Family Foundation shows 15% of Americans say they will not get vaccinated. But for those who are on board,
if I could leave people with one message, it is this: get vaccinated with the first vaccine available to you.
I'm Britt Conway reporting.
There's more encouraging news about vaccine distribution. Drug maker Merck says it will help produce Johnson & Johnson's COVID-19 vaccine under a deal brokered by the White House. Merck makes other vaccines, but was unable to create a successful COVID-19 vaccine. Johnson & Johnson says it's on pace to deliver 100 million doses by the end of June. Philadelphia Mayor Jim Kenney, along with Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas, toured a FEMA-run COVID-19 vaccination clinic at the Pennsylvania Convention Center today. The center, which is set to open to the public on Wednesday, hopes to vaccinate up to 6,000 people per day. The vaccine clinic will operate 7 days a week through April 30th by appointment only and will be staffed by uniformed military personnel. More drama coming out of Albany as Governor Andrew Cuomo now faces sexual harassment allegations from a third woman, and now calls for his resignation are growing louder. Big Fox's Matt Kleindinst joins us from Corning with the latest.
Good evening. As the state attorney general proceeds with the new investigation, calls for Governor Cuomo's resignation grow louder by the day. On Monday, the Cuomo administration granted a referral for the attorney general to form a special counsel against the governor himself. This comes after 3 women came forward with accusations against Cuomo for sexual harassment. 2 of the women, Lindsey Boland and Charlotte Bennett, were former aides for the governor. Boland says she was subjected to pervasive harassment and received an unwanted kiss on the lips, while Bennett says Cuomo made several inappropriate comments about her sex life. A third woman told the New York Times she felt uncomfortable when Cuomo placed his hands on her face and asked to kiss her at a wedding. Several lawmakers from both parties stated the governor should resign. On Monday, Cuomo released a statement saying he never intended to offend anyone or cause any harm. Matt Kleindin's Big Fox, WYDC in Corning.
It's been almost 1 year since the New York court system was forced into a virtual overhaul. But as COVID-19 specialist Amanda Decker tells us, jury trials could soon resume, while virtual court may be here to stay.
From in-person hearings to virtual hearings, New York's justice system may have kept moving along in 2020, but it definitely slowed down. But now that things may be gaining a little bit of traction, there could be a return to the courtroom soon for jury trials, but not necessarily for everything else. On Monday, the state's chief judge announced jury trials could begin across the southern tier as soon as March 22nd. Because of COVID-19, almost no criminal trials have taken place in the state, although other hearings, fact-finding sessions, and even bench trials did continue. In Chemung County, the lack of scheduled criminal trials last year led to fewer suspects pleading guilty. because most people enter their pleas right before their trial date. In fact, that happens in 90% of cases. In Steuben County, the local caseload has been leveling out since late last year when the court system began working through its backlogs of cases caused by the March through July lag. Now, in order to make these hearings possible, local counties had to make changes early on, relying on technology and virtual means of communication. And on Monday, the state's chief judge said some of those virtual means will likely stay in place, calling this past year a transformative opportunity for the future of our courts. Now, court officials say, of course, anything could change as COVID-19 cases rise or fall again in the region. Those court cases could be moved back once again. Reporting for Big Fox News, I'm COVID-19 specialist Amanda Decker reporting.
The Steuben County Sheriff's Office is launching a scholarship for criminal justice students in the county. The scholarship will be made available to students from marginalized groups who complete one semester of criminal justice courses at Corning Community College and Alfred State College. The scholarship is worth $1,000, but the Sheriff's Office hopes to raise enough money to reimburse one police academy student at both schools. Interested students are asked to contact Sheriff James Allard for an application. The New York City Bar Association is asking for possible disbarment of Rudy Giuliani. The organization has sent a letter to the Attorney Grievance Committee for the First Department in New York. That's the group that handles disciplining lawyers in New York and whether to disbar them. The letter calls for a serious investigation into Giuliani using his position as a public attorney to lend credence to former President Donald Trump's accusations of election fraud. It also cites his speech on the day of the Capitol riot, where he urged a crowd to engage in trial by combat. Several other organizations and people have also filed complaints against Giuliani. In his first appearance before lawmakers since the January 6th attack on the U.S. Capitol, FBI Director Christopher Wray appeared before the Senate Judiciary Committee. He was asked what the agency knew before the chaos. Ray Bogan is in Washington with the latest on what he had to say.
The information was raw, it was unverified.
FBI Director Christopher Wray took questions from lawmakers about what the FBI knew leading up to the January 6th Capitol attack.
In the period leading up to January 6th, tracking a large amount of information about large numbers of people coming to participate in protests and about the potential for violence.
Democratic Chairman Dick Durbin expressed concern that domestic terrorism is a growing threat.
For too long, our federal government has failed to address the growing terrorist menace in our own backyard.
D.C. took a small step toward normalcy Monday night when some fencing near the Capitol was modified to allow vehicle traffic. The acting House Sergeant-at-Arms wrote a memo to all members of Congress stating talk of protests and demonstrations on March 4th has declined. Timothy Blodgett wrote, "At this time, the U.S. Capitol Police has no indication that groups will travel to Washington, D.C. to protest or commit acts of violence." Both Blodgett and the acting U.S. Capitol Police Chief say enhanced security at the Capitol is necessary because the threat remains.
We know that members of the militia groups that were present on January 6th have stated their desires that they want to blow up the Capitol and kill as many members as possible with a direct nexus to the State of the Union.
The State of the Union is not scheduled yet, but House Speaker Nancy Pelosi has said it will happen after they pass their coronavirus relief bill. In Washington, Ray Bogan, Fox News.
Some in the Virginia Commonwealth University community are calling for justice after a student was found dead over the weekend. Jake Burns has the story.
If you don't want to be around it, you won't be. If you do want to be around it, it surrounds you.
VCU sophomore Haley Caldwell left Greek life on campus.
Personal things in my own life where I wasn't able to get the full experience.
She's seen the good it can bring students, but her focus Monday, the death of freshman Adam Oakes.
There's a lot of people who are very sad at his death. There's a lot of people who are very angry.
He just had such a big heart, you know?
Oakes' family says he was extended a bid to join that Delta Chi fraternity.
He only wanted to be accepted, and he wanted to be friends with people.
At a Friday night chapter event on Clay Street, Oakes' family says they were told he was given large amounts of alcohol and at some point was blindfolded and hit his head on a tree.
This is just what the boys there said. He passed out on the couch on his side, and they checked on him at midnight. He was breathing. The next morning, they checked on him, and he was face down on the couch. When they rolled him over, half of his face was purple. Just because 2018, they tried to put a ban on hazing, Fraternities and sororities are manipulating the system.
VCU and Richmond police are investigating and have not confirmed specific details of Oak's death. The Delta Chi chapter of VCU has been suspended, and their house appeared empty Monday. The national headquarters saying in a statement they're devastated for Oak's loved ones and urging members of VCU to cooperate with the investigation.
There was a situation in which a freshman died at a party. And how do we know that that won't happen again?
Caldwell, now focused on honoring Oakes, a fellow Ram she never got to meet.
He does not deserve to have lost the chance of knowing VCU for the love that we can give.
Still ahead tonight, a 25-year-old COVID survivor counting his blessings after being near death not once, not twice, but 3 times.
They told my family to say come by to me 3 times because they weren't going to disconnect me.
Hear from his doctor, who says this case should serve as a warning to younger people to take the virus seriously.
Here's your local stock market update from Big Fox. Now, your Twin Tiers forecast from Big Fox.
Tonight's Big Fox forecast is brought to you by William Mattar. Good evening, everyone. I'm meteorologist Kim Walker with your weather update. Noticeably colder today as highs were only in the 20s. Some of you might even hit the 30-degree mark. But the good news is we're going to see those temperatures rebound. I'll have details coming up. But right now, it's about 12 degrees cooler than it was yesterday in Elmira, Corning around 15 also in Bath and in Watkins Glen. Winds are coming from the west-northwest behind a cold front that slipped through our area. Those winds are starting to ease up as well. But even with that said, Elmira reporting 10-mile-per-hour winds, 6 in Corning, in Bath around 6 as well. So for tomorrow, we are going to enjoy lots of sunshine, and those temperatures will recover from what we had today. In fact, I think we'll reach highs in the 40s. Our average high in Elmira is around 40 degrees, and I think we'll do better than that. However, don't get used to the warmer air because we have another cold front that will be coming in. Not only is it going to bring cooler air in, or I should say colder air for the end of the week, but also there is the possibility of a few snow showers late in the day on Wednesday. So let's take a look at our planner for tomorrow. If you are planning to do anything outside, it looks like the best time to do that will be basically from 8 o'clock to about 4 o'clock, because beyond that, it looks like chances of snow will start to increase. During the day, those clouds will increase and temperature readings not too bad, 34 degrees by 8 o'clock, 41 degrees by 10. And that's pretty much our average high, but it looks like in Elmira we could climb into the upper 40s. We do have that possibility of snow by the end of the day, so let's take a look at that. Our future radar is showing quiet weather through much of the day tomorrow, but notice a few flurries start to show up at around 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and then more chances of snow in the overnight at around midnight. Our models are showing that there could be a few snow showers just north of Bath and Hornell, near Watkins Glen, and also in Ithaca. It looks like, though, Corning and Elmira will stay dry at around midnight, but then all the snow will start to press to the south. So it looks like early on Thursday, all of us will have that possibility of an isolated snow shower or two before it all ends. Tonight, we don't have to deal with the snow, but it's going to be cold. We drop down to around 25 degrees in Elmira, 29 in Corning, colder in Perkinsville, around 21 degrees, and 26 in Hornell. Take a look at these temperatures, though, better than what we did today. Highs around 47 degrees with some sunshine, but we do have snow chances and colder air for the end of the week.
Limited COVID-19 vaccine supplies, appointment frustrations. Just 2 of the hurdles facing the U.S. as a 3rd vaccine is rolled out. But even as the new 1-dose shot is available, work is already being done to make all 3 better. Mandy Gaither has more in today's Health Minute.
A 3rd coronavirus vaccine. officially rolled out in the U.S.
If people want to opt for one vaccine over another, they may have to wait. Time is of the essence. Getting vaccinated saves lives.
It's a race against the virus variants believed to be more contagious.
J&J has communicated that the supply will be limited for the next couple of weeks following this initial distribution of nearly 4 million doses.
Even as more shots become available, the 3 companies with vaccines on the U.S. market are working on a booster to help better protect against the virus variants.
All the companies are already working on the next generation for some of these variants. While we're encouraged and we're confident in the current vaccine that we have, you've always got to be preparing for the future and frankly for the unknowns.
The latest 7-day average numbers show a slight increase in new COVID-19 cases and deaths compared to the week before.
Please hear me clearly. At this level of cases with variants spreading, we stand to completely lose the hard-earned ground we have gained. Stay strong in your conviction. Continue wearing your well-fitted mask and taking the other public health prevention actions that we know work.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
I am amazed at how wonderful he looks. Just amazed. It's truly a miracle.
A 25-year-old COVID survivor, very thankful to be alive. Doctors told him he nearly died not once, not twice, but 3 times in the 4 months he was hospitalized. John Garcia has the story.
For some reason, you got another chance.
It's the first time Jason Barbosa has met the doctor who saved his life. The last time Dr. Jeffrey Hummel treated Barbosa, he was unconscious. COVID-19 forced him into a coma for 6 weeks. He says his entire body shut down and the virus nearly killed him on several occasions.
They told my family to say come by to me 3 times because they weren't going to disconnect me.
But he survived and is now on the long road to recovery.
I am amazed at how wonderful he looks. Just amazed. It's truly a miracle.
While Barbosa has some relatives here, his immediate family, his wife, 2 children, and parents are all in Mexico. So they were unable to visit him for the nearly 4 months he was at Central DuPage Hospital.
I'm good, thank you.
He's 25 years old, had no pre-existing health concerns, and his doctor says his case should serve as a warning.
Young people need to take this very seriously also. Every day in our intensive care unit, people are dying from the virus.
Barbosa was released last August, but he still has to check in at the hospital frequently while he deals with the after effects of the virus. He's hoping to get the vaccine as soon as he can and hoping to see his family.
When I woke up, it was the first thing that came to my mind, like wanting to survive, being positive to be able to be there for them.
Desperation to get the COVID-19 vaccine means you need to be on alert. Scammers are trying to take advantage of people wanting to get the shot ASAP, and that is prompting a new warning from federal authorities. Mandy Gaither has a closer look.
The COVID-19 vaccine rollout is expanding, but getting an appointment is challenging, and scammers are taking advantage of that scarcity and desperation.
It said you'll get a free vaccine, but you must be there at a certain time and you'll get, the vaccine.
It's calls like this one that are triggering a new warning from several government agencies. Watch out for texts or robocalls asking you to pay money up front to get on a vaccine list. And don't click on links in any texts or emails about fake opportunities to get the shot.
Older adults are being prioritized for vaccinations. And while they are not necessarily the group that is most likely to be scammed, that honor, if you could say honor, belongs to 18 to 25-year-olds, according to recent studies. But older adults do tend to lose more money when they are scammed.
A big concern is con artists demanding financial and personal information. Federal regulators warn more consumers will soon hear from crooks calling about vaccines while impersonating an insurance company or health department, so turn them away.
The best advice regarding vaccines is to visit the website or call your local and state health department to find out the process for your state.
Experts remind you your credit card information, bank account number, or social security number are not required in order to get a vaccine appointment. Everyone will get a shot for free from an approved provider.
because the vaccine is so new and a lot of people are thinking about it and wanting it. Some folks are even desperate to get this. We know that activities related to scams are happening.
For Consumer Watch, I'm Mandy Gaither reporting.
McDonald's says it is launching an investigation into claims of sexual harassment at its restaurants. That comes after CBS Sunday Morning aired a story with female employees who say they were harassed at different restaurants. Both employees said when they complained to managers, nothing was done. More than 90% of McDonald's restaurants are owned by franchisees. Now, corporate McDonald's says it won't tolerate sexual harassment in any of its locations. The company's CEO says he is also rolling out new global brand standards later this year, but it's not known what those standards will be. Retail giant Walmart is dropping the $35 minimum for express delivery. The change took effect Monday. Walmart says nearly 3,000 stores offer express delivery as an option, reaching nearly 70% of the U.S. population. It usually costs $10 on top of the normal delivery charge. Walmart says it is scrapping the express order minimum because customers complained about needing items quickly that didn't meet the minimum. A decades-old bomb hiding in an English city is sent packing with a vengeance. Jeremy Roth has today's Take a Look at This.
A very big bang in the middle of a small city. That's what happened after a World War II-era bomb was discovered in the city of Exeter, England. The device, determined to be a 2,200-pound German air bomb, was unexploded, so authorities decided to explode it. But first, more than 2,000 homes in a quarter-mile radius had to be evacuated, along with portions of a nearby university. Once everyone was safely out, it was showtime. The controlled detonation was a success, but it did shower the area with debris. Residents are now slowly being allowed to re-enter their properties while the cleanup operation is underway. Speaking of very big doings at transpiring, an iceberg that's larger than New York City has broken off Antarctica. It's a major event scientists say they've been expecting for almost a decade. Experts say cracks in the Brunt ice shelf have been forming for years, but a new chasm called the North Rift started quickly growing in November. The 490 square mile chunk finally broke off not far from a British scientific outpost. Scientists call it a dynamic situation and are watching to see what the iceberg will do next. For Take a Look at This, I'm Jeremy Roth.
We want to leave you with a smile tonight. Well, depending on your taste buds, this story might either have you smiling or flat out confused. There are breakfast sandwiches, breakfast burritos, and now a breakfast pizza. An Iowa restaurant causing quite a stir with this new addition. Fong's Pizza is now serving the Loopy Fruits Pizza. It comes with sour cream and cream cheese sauce, topped with mozzarella, Fruit Loops, and drizzled with Greek yogurt and condensed milk. The pizza parlor's manager says while it's not a crowd pleaser like classic pepperoni, people are excited to try it. From our whole team, thanks for joining us. We hope you have a great night.